So far we have learned that Adam gave the definition of man as the image of Adam. They give the definition of things, and she was born again with the knowledge. She was to give the definition, the knowledge of what things are in regard to the Father and to man, that is to say, to the vision of man. So now let's continue, because I want to touch on it, the role of the woman or Eve in this regard. And it came to pass that the wind greeted Harari, so they're greeting the mountain, and said, I have heard from the trees that you are a mountain. Remember, the wind, the trees, the mountain, these are all angels. So this is a conversation of angels in Eden. There was no man as we know ourselves at this time. You are so strong that no force of wind can affect you. And the wind, who was the first Ekudishai, or the holy angel, to enter into transformation, transform into Eden. Like I said, the wind was the first to be brought to Adam to define it. So it was the first to enter into the Garden of Eden to be defined. So I began to tremble forward with the news, and I could see mountains in the distance, seemingly without numbers, and the wind danced about and swelled up around them with the news, and all the mountains received the news gladly, and they too were transformed from Olam to Eden. So we see the transformation is happening, transforming them from the loneliness, the isolation, into a community of connected spirit, Olam to Eden. So maybe if I say Eden is Olam, it's not right. So let's say, but we know there is Eden and there is a Garden of Eden. And they too were born again to have the gift of life. So the definition here is to give. Adam was giving them a gift of life. As the news spread, the gift of life came from Moses. So the gift of life is given by Messiah, the man who created them. Because everything that transforming from Olam to Eden, it must be given form, or everything, the bodies that mountains have, the trees, and us, that body is created by Messiah, together with the man who is the object of creation. And the object of creation is who? Adam in this regard. And we'll learn also that it's Eve entered into them to abide there, to give them the gift of life. So Moses gives the gift of life. Man, who is Adam, also gives the gift of life. And that's their first part of being born again was accomplished. So that's the first part of being born again. And all the mountains of the earth became a significant force in Eden, the garden of love. So like I said before, the garden of love grew. So the definition here, where things have been defined, is in the Garden of Eden and Garden of Love. Like they said, I said Shabua means Garden of Love, actually. I don't know if they will give me it somewhere as a definition. And because my whole soul was taken up with viewing this event, I was startled to see Kava. Kava is who? Eve, making her way up the mountain. So what you have to remember is the names we see mostly used in the Bible are not the holy names. The holy name of our first mother of our flesh is Kava, but Satan called him Eve. Yazgad is who Satan called Adam. And I looked to see if Harari saw her, and she was looking attentively at her also, and she saw a gentle little person coming dancing way alow and singing a wonderful song of joining. And the song of it was like no other sound she had ever heard, and the beauty of the moment will never leave my side. And the mountain was fixed upon Eve, and Harari was amazed at how different this person felt from the man. And a strong spirit of kingship awakened in the soul of Harari. And Harari embraced Kava fully, and the feeling of dancing feet of Eve filled an empty place in her soul. So remember, Harari is already defined. It has the knowledge of self-awareness, awareness of Messiah and the awareness of man, but she's still empty. So the dancing feet of Eve filled an empty place in her soul, and she could hardly contain herself, and she wanted to take Eve into her soul. And Harari was falling in love with Eve. And in the dance, Eve swayed to and from. So when you see this word to and from, it's the dance of women. To and from. When something says to and from, know that that's the movement of women, and it resembles the movement of the snake. So not all snakes are evil. So the dance of women is in the pattern of the movement swaying to and from as the snake moves. Reached upwards with her hands to lay hold of this and bestow it upon that with her hands reaching downwards, and Kava had been pausing to look at the far-reaching view of creation of Anukhet far below her. So she's like in the air, if I try to picture it, because he's looking there and there, and he could even look far below. And it came to pass that Kava, our first mother, looked up upon Harari, and they stood gazing upon one another for a while, and their eyes met, and their two hearts became one. And it came to pass that Eve saw the melting snow and the rivers running down, and she said to Harari, so she's talking to who? She's talking to the mountain. She's talking to Zion. And she said, I am a woman because I'm taken out of women, of men. You are also a woman who is taken out of the earth. And you are the life giver of all that is before you, to nourish them and to give them life with your living and lustrous water, because you joined them together in marvelous love. And Kava danced her way closer, and she reached up to lay hold of the waters, and she reached down to bestow it upon the grasses and herbs of the field. And you are the source of my happiness, because your waters of Simca called out to me and led me to find my Adam. In this way, you have joined me to life, and you are very gracious and lovely, and I name you Rishuni, because you are my ancient ancestor and have given me life and happiness. And Kava was falling in love with the mountain. And Kava loved Rishuni, but she did not at this time call her mother, because she had no concept of a mother until she had given birth to baby Kenna. So after Eve gave birth to Kenna, when she realized that that mountain is also her mother, just like Cain is her baby. So she is also the babe of that mountain. And after she left Eden, she began to view Rishini as her mother. And she said to her, I am the mother of the living among men. So Eve say, she is the mother of all the living among men. And you are the mother of all the spirit of life of the earth, for Anuka said the Father, and for me. And she rejoiced greatly day and night. And that the second part of being born again was accomplished, because now she knew what Anuka said meant to her. So the meaning of life is given, defined by Eve and women. I'll leave it here. My phone is misbehaving.